Maya sat in the cold doctor's office, her hands shaking as she stared at the white walls. The clock on the wall ticked loudly, each second feeling like forever. She had been coming to this place for months, hoping for good news, but today felt different. Today felt final. Her husband Alex held her hand tightly. They had been married for 5 years, and all they wanted was to start a family. They had tried everything they could think of: special diets, expensive vitamins, even changing their whole lifestyle. Nothing worked. Month after month, the pregnancy test came back negative. The hope they felt each time slowly turned into disappointment. The doctor walked in with a thick folder in his hands. He was an older man with gray hair and glasses that sat low on his nose. He didn't smile when he sat down. Maya's heart started beating faster. She knew this wasn't going to be good news. "I've looked at all your tests," the doctor said, flipping through the papers. "Everything shows that you're healthy in most ways. Your blood work is fine. Your hormone levels are mostly normal. But there's one thing that's making it hard for you to get pregnant." Maya felt her throat get tight. "What is it?" The doctor looked at her over his glasses. "Your weight. It's affecting your ability to conceive. You need to lose at least 50 pounds before we can move forward with any treatments." The words hit Maya like a truck. She had always been bigger than other women. As a child, she was the tallest girl in her class and always felt different. Her clothes never fit right. Other kids sometimes made mean comments. But she had learned to live with it. She thought she had made peace with her body. "Are you saying I'm too fat to have a baby?" Maya's voice came out as a whisper. "I'm saying your current weight is a barrier to pregnancy. The extra weight affects your hormones. It makes it harder for your body to work the way it needs to work." Maya felt tears starting to form in her eyes. She had heard these words before, in different ways, her whole life. Too big, too heavy, too much. Now it wasn't just about fitting into clothes or feeling comfortable in her own skin. Now it was about her dreams of becoming a mother. Alex squeezed her hand. What exactly does she need to do? The doctor pulled out a pamphlet and placed it on the desk. "Diet and exercise. There are programs we can recommend. Weight loss surgery might be an option if other methods don't work. But until she reaches a healthier weight, I can't help you." Maya stared at the pamphlet. It had a picture of a smiling woman on the front, someone thin and happy. She wondered if that woman had ever felt the way she felt right now, like her body was betraying her, like she wasn't good enough the way she was. "How long will this take?" Alex asked. "It depends on how committed she is. Could be 6 months. Could be a year. Maybe longer." Maya stood up suddenly. The room felt too small, too hot. "I need some air," she said, and walked out before anyone could stop her. Outside the building, Maya sat on a bench and cried. She thought about her childhood, growing up in her grandmother's house. Her grandmother, Nana Rosa, had always shown love through food. Big Sunday dinners with everyone gathered around the table. Homemade cookies when Maya was sad. Extra helpings. Because you're a growing girl. But her mother was different. Her mother was always worried about what other people thought. She would make comments about Maya's clothes being too tight. She would suggest Maya eat less at family gatherings. The two most important women in her life sent completely different messages about food and bodies. Maya remembered being 12 years old, standing in front of the mirror in her bedroom. She had just gone shopping with her mother for school clothes. Nothing fit right. Her mother had sighed and said, "Maybe we should look at the women's section instead." Maya had felt so embarrassed. She wasn't even a teenager yet, and already her body was wrong. In high school, Maya played volleyball. She was good at it because she was tall and strong. But she was also the biggest girl on the team. She could spike the ball harder than anyone else. But she still felt out of place in her uniform. The other girls would talk about boys and dates. But Maya always felt like she was on the outside looking in. When she met Alex in college, everything changed. He was studying engineering, and she was studying to be a teacher. They met in the library during finals week. He was struggling with a math problem, and she helped him figure it out. He asked her out for coffee to say thank you. Alex never made her feel bad about her body. He would tell her she was beautiful. He would hold her hand in public. He made her feel normal for the first time in her life. When he proposed, she actually believed that maybe her body wasn't the problem she had always thought it was. But now, sitting on this bench outside the doctor's office, all those old feelings came rushing back. The doctor's words kept playing in her head. Your weight is a barrier. It felt like her body was a prison, keeping her from the life she wanted. Alex came outside and sat next to her. He didn't say anything at first. He just put his arm around her and let her cry. I'm sorry. Maya finally said, I'm sorry my body is broken. Your body isn't broken, Alex said softly. You're perfect the way you are. But the doctor said we need to make some changes. That doesn't mean you're broken. That doesn't mean I love you any less. Maya looked at her husband. He had kind eyes and a gentle smile. She knew he meant every word, but she also knew that loving her wouldn't make her pregnant. Love wouldn't change what the doctor had said. I don't know if I can do this, Maya said. I've tried to lose weight before. It never works. I always end up bigger than when I started. Alex took her hands in his. We'll figure it out together. We don't have to do this alone. Maya nodded, but inside she felt scared. She had spent 30 years learning to accept her body. Now she was being asked to change it completely. She wondered if she was strong enough. She wondered if it was even possible. As they walked back to their car, Maya caught her reflection in the window of the medical building. She saw a woman who looked tired and sad. A woman who had been told once again that she wasn't good enough the way she was. A woman who now had to choose between accepting herself and having the family she desperately wanted. The drive home was quiet. Maya stared out the window at the world passing by. She saw thin women pushing strollers, their children laughing and playing. She wondered if those women had ever been told they were too big to be mothers. She wondered if they had ever felt the way she felt right now. That night, Maya lay in bed staring at the ceiling. Alex was sleeping next to her, but she felt completely alone. She thought about the doctor's words, about her grandmother's cooking, about her mother's worried looks. She thought about all the diets she had tried and failed. She thought about the baby she wanted so badly that it hurt. Tomorrow, she would have to decide what to do next. Tonight, she just wanted to feel sorry for herself. Just for tonight. She wanted to be angry at the world for making her feel like she wasn't enough. Tomorrow, she would start the fight of her life. Tonight, she would just be sad. Maya woke up the next morning with a fire in her belly. She had spent the whole night thinking about what the doctor said. By the time the sun came up, she had made a decision. She was going to lose the weight. She was going to prove everyone wrong. She was going to become a mother, no matter what it took. She jumped out of bed and started researching on her phone. Weight loss programs, gym memberships, diet plans. There were so many options it made her head spin. She wrote down everything she found. She was going to do this right. Alex woke up to find Maya sitting at the kitchen table with papers spread everywhere. She had printed out meal plans, exercise schedules, and shopping lists. Her laptop was open to 3 different fitness websites. Good morning, Alex said carefully. He could see the determination in her eyes. What's all this? This is my plan, Maya said, holding up a thick stack of papers. I'm going to lose 50 pounds in 6 months. I've got it all figured out. Alex sat down next to her. Maya, maybe we should talk about this first. There's nothing to talk about. The doctor was clear. I lose weight or we don't have a baby. So I'm losing weight. That morning, Maya threw away everything in their kitchen. Cookies, chips, ice cream, pasta, bread, everything that she thought might be bad for her went straight into the trash. Alex watched sadly as she tossed out the homemade cookies his mother had sent them. Those were from my mom, he said quietly. They're not helping me get pregnant, Maya replied. Not looking at him. Next, Maya joined the most expensive gym in town. She signed up for personal training sessions 3 times a week. She bought new workout clothes, running shoes, and a fitness tracker that would count every step she took. She downloaded 5 different apps on her phone to track her food, her exercise, and her weight. The trainer at the gym was a young woman named Lisa who was about half Maya's size. Lisa was peppy and energetic, always smiling and encouraging. Maya found her annoying, but she was determined to listen to everything Lisa said. "We're going to start slow," Lisa said on the first day. 30 minutes of cardio, then some light weights. Maya lasted 15 minutes on the treadmill before she felt like she was going to pass out. Her face was red, and she was sweating more than she had ever sweated in her life. Lisa kept saying things like "you're doing great" and "push through the burn." But Maya felt like she was dying. At home, Maya measured everything she ate. She bought a food scale and weighed every piece of food before it went on her plate. She ate the same breakfast every day: egg whites, spinach, and a piece of fruit. Lunch was always a salad with grilled chicken and no dressing. Dinner was steamed vegetables and a small piece of fish. The first week was terrible. Maya was hungry all the time. She would lie in bed at night with her stomach growling, thinking about all the food she couldn't eat. She missed her grandmother's cooking. She missed the joy of eating without thinking about calories. But when she stepped on the scale at the end of the week, she had lost 4 pounds. For whole pounds. Maya felt like she had won the lottery. She took a picture of the scale and sent it to her sister Luna. "I'm already down 4 pounds." She texted. Luna texted back, "That's great, but are you okay? You seem a little intense." About this, Maya didn't answer. She didn't want to hear any negative comments. She was finally making progress. As the weeks went by, Maya became obsessed with the numbers. She weighed herself every morning and every night. She counted calories constantly. She knew exactly how many steps she had taken each day. She could tell you the exact nutritional information of every food she ate. Her world got smaller and smaller. She stopped going out with friends because restaurants were too tempting. She stopped visiting her family because they always wanted to eat together. She even stopped watching TV because food commercials made her hungry. Alex tried to be supportive, but it was hard. Maya talked about nothing but weight loss at dinner. She would tell him how many calories were in his food. She would comment on what other people were eating when they were out in public. She became the food police for everyone around her. "Maybe we could go to that new Italian place tonight," Alex suggested one Friday. "Do you know how many calories are in pasta?" Maya snapped. "I can't eat there. I can't eat anywhere. You could just order a salad. I don't want to sit there watching you eat bread while I pick at lettuce. Let's just stay home." So they stayed home again. They had been staying home a lot lately. Maya's friends started inviting her to fewer things. When they did invite her, she would spend the whole time talking about her diet or making comments about what everyone else was eating. She became the person who brought celery sticks to parties and complained about how unhealthy everything was. Her sister Luna came to visit one weekend. She watched Maya weigh a single grape before eating it. "This is getting weird," Luna said. "You're acting like food is the enemy." "Food is the enemy," Maya replied. "Food is what's keeping me from having a baby." "That's not true. And you know it. You're taking this too far." Maya got angry. "You don't understand. You have kids. You don't know what it's like to be told your body is wrong." "Your body isn't wrong, Maya. You're just treating it badly." They had a big fight, and Luna left early. Maya felt terrible, but she also felt like no one understood what she was going through. She was doing what she had to do. She was making sacrifices for her future family. By month 3, Maya had lost 25 pounds. She was halfway to her goal. People started noticing. Her coworkers complimented her on how good she looked. Strangers at the gym nodded at her with approval. She felt proud of herself for the first time in years, but she also felt exhausted. She was tired all the time. She had headaches that wouldn't go away. She was cold even when it was warm outside. Her hair started falling out more than usual. She told herself these were just side effects of getting healthy. Alex was worried. Maya had become a different person. She was grumpy and tired. She snapped at him for small things. She seemed to think about nothing but food and exercise. Their conversations had become boring because she only talked about her weight loss journey. "I miss you," he told her one night. What do you mean? I'm right here. You're here, but you're not really here. You're thinking about tomorrow's workout or counting calories or planning your next meal. When was the last time we just talked about something else? Maya looked at him like he was crazy. This is important, Alex. This is about our future. But what about our present? What about right now? Maya didn't have an answer for that. She just knew she had to keep going. She had to reach her goal. She had to prove that she could do this. The scale became her best friend and her worst enemy. Good days were when the number went down. Bad days were when it stayed the same or went up. Her mood for the entire day depended on what that little digital screen told her. She started exercising twice a day, once in the morning before work and once after work. She told herself she was being dedicated. She told herself she was being strong. But deep down, she was starting to feel like she was losing control. The worst part was that she was starting to lose herself. The Maya who laughed at Alex's jokes was gone. The Maya who enjoyed cooking for her family was gone. The Maya who could eat a piece of cake without feeling guilty was gone. But she was getting smaller. And that was what mattered. That was what the doctor had told her to do. That was what would give her the family she wanted. Maya didn't realize that in trying to create life, she was slowly killing the joy in her own life. She thought she was getting closer to her dreams, but she was actually getting farther away from everything that made her happy. The battle had begun, and Maya was determined to win, but she didn't know that she was fighting the wrong war. Maya stood in front of the bathroom mirror, staring at her reflection. 8 months had passed since that terrible day at the doctor's office. She had lost 38 pounds. She was only 12 pounds away from her goal. She should have felt proud, but instead, she felt empty. Her clothes hung loose on her body. Her face looked thin and tired. Dark circles had formed under her eyes. She looked like a different person, but not in the way she had hoped. She looked sick. Maya's period had stopped coming 3 months ago. At first, she thought it was a good sign. Maybe she was finally pregnant, but test after test came back negative. When she asked her trainer Lisa about it, Lisa just shrugged and said it was normal when you lose weight quickly. Your body is just adjusting, Lisa had said. It'll come back. But Maya was starting to worry. How could she get pregnant if her body wasn't working normally? She had done everything the doctor asked. She had changed her entire life. Why wasn't it working? At work, Maya found it hard to concentrate. She would stare at her computer screen for hours, thinking about what she would eat for lunch. She had exactly 4 almonds and a piece of celery plan. She knew it wasn't enough food, but she was scared to eat more. What if she gained weight? What if she undid all her progress? Her coworkers had stopped complimenting her on her weight loss. Now they looked at her with concern. During lunch breaks, they would ask if she was feeling okay. Maya would always say she was fine, but she wasn't fine. She was tired all the time. She was cold even when everyone else was warm. Her hand shook when she hadn't eaten in a while. One Tuesday morning, Maya collapsed at the gym. She had been running on the treadmill when suddenly everything went black. She woke up on the floor with Lisa and several other people standing over her. "We're calling an ambulance," Lisa said, her peppy voice finally showing some concern. "No," Maya said weakly. "I'm okay. I just need some water." But she wasn't okay. Her body was rebelling against the punishment she had been putting it through. She was eating less than 1,000 calories a day and exercising for 3 hours. Her body was running on empty. Alex picked her up from the gym. The ride home was quiet. Maya could feel his anger and worry filling the car like a heavy cloud. "This has to stop," he said finally. "I'm fine. I just got a little dizzy." "You passed out, Maya. You collapsed. That's not fine. I only have 12 more pounds to go. I can't stop now." Alex pulled the car over and turned to look at her. "Look at yourself. Really look at yourself. You're disappearing." Maya looked down at her hands. They were thin and pale. She could see the veins through her skin. When had that happened? When had she become so fragile? "I'm getting healthy," she said. But her voice was weak. "This isn't healthy. This is the opposite of healthy. That night, Maya couldn't sleep. She was hungry, but she had already eaten her planned calories for the day. She went to the kitchen and opened the refrigerator. It was almost empty, just some vegetables and a container of plain yogurt. She remembered when their fridge used to be full of food. Real food. Food that tasted good. Food that made her happy. Now it looked like a sad, empty box. Maya took out her phone and looked at pictures from a year ago. There she was at her cousin's wedding, laughing and dancing with Alex. She was bigger then, but she looked happy. She looked alive. She looked like herself in the picture. She was wearing a blue dress and smiling widely. Alex had his arm around her waist, and they both looked so in love. They looked like a couple who enjoyed life together. Now, Maya couldn't remember the last time she had really laughed. She couldn't remember the last time she had enjoyed a meal. She couldn't remember the last time she had felt truly happy. The next morning, Maya's sister Luna showed up at their door unannounced. Luna took one look at Maya and started crying. "Oh my God, Maya, what have you done to yourself?" "I'm losing weight like the doctor said." "This isn't losing weight. This is hurting yourself." Luna sat Maya down on the couch and held her hands. "Do you remember when we were kids and you used to make pancakes for me every Sunday morning? You would make them into funny shapes and tell me stories while we ate. You were so happy then." Maya did remember. She remembered how much she loved cooking for people. She remembered how good it felt to make someone smile with food. She remembered when food was about love, not about numbers and rules. "I miss that, Maya," Luna said. "I miss my sister who knew how to enjoy life." "I'm trying to have a baby," Maya whispered. "But what kind of mother will you be if you're afraid of food? What kind of life will you give a child if you think being thin is more important than being happy?" Maya didn't have an answer for that. She had been so focused on reaching her goal weight that she hadn't thought about what came after. She hadn't thought about what kind of person she was becoming. That evening, Alex sat down with Maya at the kitchen table. He had printed out some articles about extreme dieting and fertility problems. "I've been doing some research," he said. "Did you know that losing weight too quickly can actually make it harder to get pregnant?" Maya looked at the papers. They talked about how extreme dieting could mess up hormones. They explained how the body stops certain functions when it thinks it's starving. They described exactly what was happening to Maya's body. "The doctor said I needed to lose weight." Maya said, "The doctor said you needed to be healthier. But this isn't healthy. This is the opposite of healthy." Maya started to cry. "I don't know how to stop. I'm scared that if I eat normally, I'll gain all the weight back. I'm scared that I'll never be able to have a baby." Alex moved his chair closer to hers. "What if we talked to a different doctor? What if we got a second opinion? What if they say the same thing? What if they don't?" Maya realized that she had been so focused on one doctor's opinion that she hadn't considered that there might be other ways to think about her situation. She had been so desperate to follow the rules that she hadn't questioned whether the rules were right. "I think I need help," Maya said quietly. "I think you do too," Alex said. "But we'll figure it out together." That night, Maya ate a real dinner. For the first time in months, just a small portion of pasta with some vegetables. It tasted better than anything she had eaten in the past 8 months. She felt guilty about the calories, but she also felt human again. As she went to bed, Maya thought about the person she had become. She thought about the friendships she had damaged, the joy she had lost, the health she had compromised. She thought about how her dream of becoming a mother had turned into a nightmare of self-destructs. She didn't know how to fix what she had broken, but she knew she had to try. She knew she couldn't continue down this path. She knew that in trying to create life, she had been slowly killing the life she already had. Maya fell asleep that night with a full stomach for the first time in months. She dreamed about pancakes and laughter and the person she used to be. She dreamed about finding her way back to herself. The breaking point had come. Now she had to decide whether to break completely or find a way to heal. Maya sat in the waiting room of Dr. Carmen Rivera's office, her palms sweating despite the cool air conditioning. This was different from the cold medical offices she had visited before. The walls were painted warm yellow, and there were plants. In every corner, soft music played in the background, and the chairs were comfortable instead of hard plastic. Alex squeezed her hand. "You don't have to do this if you're not ready. I'm ready," Maya said, though she wasn't sure if that was true. "I need to do this." Dr. Rivera was a woman in her 50s with kind eyes and a gentle smile. She specialized in helping women who struggle with body image and eating issues. Maya had found her through hours of online research, reading reviews from other women who had felt lost and found their way back to themselves. "Tell me what brought you here today," Dr. Rivera said, settling into her chair across from Maya. Maya took a deep breath. "I think I broke myself trying to fix myself." Over the next hour, Maya told her story. She talked about the doctor who had told her she was too big to have a baby. She talked about the months of extreme dieting and exercise. She talked about losing her period, collapsing at the gym, and pushing away everyone who cared about her. Dr. Rivera listened without judgment. She didn't tell Maya she was right or wrong. She just listened and asked gentle questions that helped Maya understand her own feelings better. "When you were a child, what did food mean to you?" Dr. Rivera asked. Maya thought about her grandmother's kitchen, full of laughter and the smell of fresh bread. Food was love. Food was family. Food was celebration. And now food is the enemy. Food is what's keeping me from having a baby. But is that really true? Maya had never questioned it before. The doctor had said she needed to lose weight, so she had decided that food was bad. But sitting in this warm office, she started to wonder if maybe the problem wasn't that simple. Dr. Rivera explained how extreme dieting could actually make it harder to get pregnant. She talked about how the body needs proper nutrition to function correctly. She explained how stress and obsession could affect hormones just as much as weight could. "Your body is trying to protect you," Dr. Rivera said. "When it thinks you're starving, it shuts down non-essential functions. Reproduction is one of those functions." Maya felt a mix of relief and frustration. Relief that maybe she wasn't broken. Frustration that she had put herself through so much pain for nothing. "So what do I do now?" Maya asked. "We start by rebuilding your relationship with food and with yourself." The journey wasn't easy. Maya had to learn to eat normally again, which was harder than she expected. She had forgotten how to listen to her body's hunger signals. She had forgotten what it felt like to eat something just because it tasted good. Dr. Rivera gave her homework assignments that felt strange at first. She had to eat one meal a day without counting calories. She had to write down 3 things she liked about her body that had nothing to do with weight. She had to practice saying "I am enough" in the mirror every morning. The hardest part was the guilt. Every time Maya ate something that wasn't on her strict diet plan, she felt like she was failing. Every time she skipped a workout, she felt lazy. It took weeks for her to understand that rest and proper nutrition weren't signs of weakness. Alex was patient and supportive, but Maya could see the worry in his eyes. He was walking on eggshells around her, afraid to say the wrong thing. They started going to couples counseling together, learning how to communicate about the stress they had both been under. "I felt helpless," Alex told their counselor. "I watched the woman I loved disappear, and I didn't know how to help her. I thought I was doing this for us." Maya replied, "I thought I was doing what I needed to do to give us a family." "But we're already a family," Alex said. "You and me. We're already complete." Maya had never thought about it that way. She had been so focused on what was missing that she had forgotten to appreciate what she already had. 3 months into therapy, Maya joined a support group for women dealing with fertility issues, sitting in a circle with other women who understood. Her pain was both comforting and eye-opening. There was Jennifer, who had been trying to get pregnant for 7 years. There was Rosa, who had lost 3 pregnancies. There was Kim, who had spent her life savings on fertility treatments that didn't work. "I used to think my body was broken," Jennifer shared during one meeting. "But now I realize my body has been doing exactly what it's supposed to do. It's been taking care of me." Maya started to see her own body differently. Instead of thinking about all the things it couldn't do, She started appreciating all the things it could do. Her legs carried her through each day. Her hands allowed her to create beautiful things. Her heart kept beating despite all the stress she had put it through slowly. Maya's period returned. At first, it was irregular and unpredictable. But Dr. Rivera assured her that this was normal as her body learned to trust her again. "Your body is healing," Dr. Rivera said. "But healing takes time." Maya started cooking again. At first, it was scary. She had to fight the urge to measure every ingredient and calculate every calorie. But gradually, she remembered the joy of creating something delicious for the people she loved. She made Alex's favorite soup for the first time in almost a year. She watched his face light up when he tasted it, and she felt proud of herself for the first time in months. "This tastes like home," Alex said. And Maya knew what he meant. Maya also had to repair relationships that had been damaged during her obsession with weight loss. She called her sister Luna and apologized for pushing her away. She reached out to friends she had avoided because she didn't want to be around food. "I missed you," her best friend Tanya said when they met for coffee. "I miss the real you." "I miss me too," Maya admitted. The most surprising part of Maya's healing was discovering that she didn't have to choose between being healthy and being happy. She could eat nutritious food that also tasted good. She could exercise in ways that felt good. Instead of punishing, she could take care of her body without hating it. Maya started taking yoga classes instead of punishing herself at the gym. She learned to listen to her body and give it what it needed. Some days that meant movement and activity, other days it meant rest and gentle stretching. She also started seeing a nutritionist who helped her learn about balanced eating. Instead of restricting entire food groups, she learned about portion sizes and nutrition. Instead of seeing food as good or bad, she learned to see food as fuel and pleasure. 6 months after starting therapy, Maya stood in front of the mirror in her bedroom. She looked different than she had a year ago, but not in the way she had expected. She looked healthier. She looked happier. She looked like herself again. Her body had settled into a weight that felt natural and comfortable. She wasn't as thin as she had been at her lowest weight, but she also wasn't as heavy as she had been at her highest. She was somewhere in the middle, and for the first time in her life, that felt perfectly okay. Maya had learned that her worth wasn't determined by the number on a scale. She had learned that health was about so much more than weight. She had learned that she was enough, exactly as she was. The woman in the mirror smiled back at her, and Maya recognized that smile. It was the same smile she had worn in those old photos with Alex. It was the smile of someone who knew how to enjoy life. Maya was rebuilding herself from the inside out, and this time, she was building something that would last. 2 years had passed since that devastating day in the doctor's office. Maya stood in her kitchen, preparing dinner for her family. The kitchen was full of life again. Fresh vegetables sat on the counter next to a loaf of homemade bread. The smell of garlic and herbs filled the air. Music played softly in the background, and Maya found herself humming along. "Need any help?" called a voice from the living room. "I'm okay, Zoe," Maya called back. "Just setting the table would be great." Zoe was 15 years old and had been living with Maya and Alex for 8 months. She had come to them through the foster care system, a teenager who had been bounced from home to home for most of her life. Like Maya, Zoe had learned that she wasn't quite what people expected or wanted. When Maya and Alex first talked about fostering, it seemed like a crazy idea. They had spent so many years focused on having a biological child that the idea of caring for someone else's child felt foreign. But as Maya healed from her own struggles, she realized that family could be created in many different ways. "The caseworker called today," Alex said, walking into the kitchen. "Zoe's adoption papers are almost ready." Maya smiled. The adoption had been Zoe's idea. After months of living with them, she had asked if she could stay permanently. "I've never felt like I belonged anywhere before," Zoe had said, "but I feel like I belong here." Maya understood that feeling. She had spent most of her life feeling like she didn't fit anywhere either. Too big for some spaces, too different for others. But in creating a home for Zoe, She had finally found where she belonged. The three of them sat down to dinner together. It was a simple meal, but it was made with love. Maya watched as Zoe told them about her day at school. Her face animated as she described a project she was working on. Alex listened with the same attention he had always given to Maya, and Maya felt grateful for the man who had stood by her through everything. Mrs. Chen wants to meet with you guys next week, Zoe said, referring to her guidance counselor. She says I might be able to graduate early if I keep my grades up. That's amazing, Maya said. You've worked so hard. Zoe beamed when she first came to live with them. She had been failing most of her classes. She had been angry and defensive, expecting Maya and Alex to give up on her like everyone else had. But they didn't give up. They got her tutoring help. They supported her through difficult assignments. And they celebrated every small victory. After dinner, Maya cleaned up while Alex and Zoe worked on homework together at the kitchen table. This had become their routine, and Maya loved the normalcy of it. She loved the sound of their voices discussing math problems and history assignments. She loved feeling like part of a real family. Later that evening, Maya sat at her computer, working on her blog. She had started writing about her experiences with body image and fertility struggles. What had begun as a way to process her own healing had turned into a resource for other women going through similar challenges. The blog was called Enough As You Are, and it had grown bigger than Maya had ever expected. She received emails from women all over the world who shared their own stories of struggling with their bodies and their dreams of motherhood. She had created an online community where women could support each other without judgment. Maya was also working on a book about her journey. A publisher had reached out after reading her blog, interested in sharing her story with a wider audience. The idea of being that vulnerable in public was scary, but Maya knew that her story might help other women avoid the mistakes she had made. How's the writing going? Alex asked, looking over her shoulder. Good, Maya said. I'm working on the chapter about the support group. I want to make sure I capture how important it was to realize I wasn't alone. Alex kissed the top of her head. I'm proud of you. You've turned your pain into something beautiful. Maya had never thought about it that way, but Alex was right. Her journey had been painful, but it had also taught her things she never would have learned otherwise. She had learned about resilience, about self-compassion, about the difference between being healthy and being obsessed. On weekends, Maya volunteered at a local community center, leading support groups for women with eating disorders and body image issues. She shared her story with women who were where she had been 2 years ago, desperate and lost and hurting themselves in the name of health. I thought I had to punish my body to get what I wanted, Maya would tell the group. But I learned that my body was never the problem. My relationship with my body was the problem. Some of the women in the group were skeptical at first. They were so deep in their own struggles that they couldn't imagine a different way of thinking. Maya understood that skepticism. She had felt it too. How do you not hate your body? A young woman named Beth asked during one meeting. How do you look in the mirror and not see everything that's wrong? Maya thought about the question carefully. I started by looking for one thing I liked. Just one thing. Maybe it was my eyes, or my hands, or the way my legs carried me through each day. I practiced being grateful for that one thing. Then I looked for another thing. It took time, but eventually, I started seeing myself differently. Maya's relationship with her body had completely transformed. She no longer saw it as an enemy to be conquered. She saw it as a partner that had carried her through life, through pain, through healing. She took care of it not because she hated it, but because she loved it. She ate when she was hungry and stopped when she was full. She moved her body in ways that felt good. She rested when she needed rest. She had learned to trust her body's wisdom instead of trying to control it. Maya still went to therapy with Dr. Rivera, but now their sessions focused on maintaining her mental health and continuing to grow. They talked about the challenges of parenting a teenager, about the pressures of writing a book, about the normal stresses of life. Do you ever regret not having a biological child? Dr. Rivera asked during one session. Maya considered the question. Sometimes I wonder what it would have been like. but I don't regret the path my life took. Zoe needed us as much as we needed her. I think we were meant to find each other. Maya had learned that family wasn't just about biology. It was about choice, about commitment, about showing up for each other every day. She and Alex had chosen Zoe, and Zoe had chosen them. That choice felt more meaningful than any accident of genetics. One evening, as Maya was getting ready for bed, she caught sight of herself in the bathroom mirror. She paused, looking at her reflection. Her body was different now than it had been during her extreme dieting phase. She was softer, curvier, more like her natural self, but she was also stronger, healthier, more at peace. She thought about the woman who had sat in that doctor's office 2 years ago, believing that her body was wrong. She wished she could go back and tell that woman that she was enough, exactly as she was. She wished she could spare her the pain of the journey she was about to take. But Maya also knew that the journey had been necessary. She had to lose herself to find herself. She had to break down to build something better. She had to learn the hard way that worth wasn't measured by weight or size or the ability to fit into someone else's idea of what a woman should be. Maya smiled at her reflection. She looked like a woman who had been through something difficult and come out stronger. She looked like a woman who knew her own worth. She looked like a woman who was finally, truly happy. The next morning, Maya woke up to the sound of Zoe laughing. In the kitchen, she found her daughter trying to flip pancakes while Alex watched nervously from the side. "I'm making breakfast," Zoe announced proudly. "Well, I'm trying to make breakfast." Maya laughed and joined them, helping Zoe with the pancakes and setting the table. As they sat down to eat together, Maya felt overwhelmed with gratitude. This wasn't the family she had planned, but it was the family she was meant to have. Her body had never been too big to create life. It had just been waiting to create the right kind of life. A life full of love, acceptance, and joy. A life where she was finally, completely enough.